Yes, hi everyone. Welcome back to our webinar, to the series of webinars that we are conducting jointly, the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability and the Global Green Chamber of Commerce. And today we are having the Global Forum on Social Entrepreneurship, Policy and Sustainability. So we'll have a lineup of prominent guest speakers for today, and I'm inviting Ms. Michelle Thatcher for an opening remarks. So the floor is yours, Ms. Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Wissam, and welcome everyone who's joining us today from LinkedIn and as well as our speakers. Today we are exploring what it takes to transform communities through enterprise models that are not only profitable, but profoundly human-centered and sustainable. We will begin with Professor Mohammed Saeed and Mr. Nanang, who will share two perspectives from Indonesia, one rooted in Islamic economic empowerment and the other in water sector social enterprise models. We will then hear from Dr. Safa, who will speak on the values of purpose and behavioral culture needed for true social entrepreneurship. After that, Ms. Minal Durasario and Ms. Elzina Abu Bakar will take us to the UAE and Singapore, showing how policy, trust, kindness, and behavioral sustainability can shape national ecosystems. And finally, Ms. Renan will present global policy insights and regional opportunities, showing how social entrepreneurship can scale sustainability. So we're really excited for everyone to be joining us today. And please mark your calendar for the 30th International Talk, which will be next week, Thursday, December 4th. And as a celebration, this was such exciting news for us that when we really looked at this platform and the engagement that we're having, usually I will say there are between 1,000 to 1,500 views that happen over time for each and every video that is being seen. But what was super surprising to us is that we have this level of engagement that, as LinkedIn shows, is world class. They said it's not just good; it is absolutely top notch, because the average engagement is for videos is 3.82%. You can see one of our highest videos was 25.2, and our lowest one was 4.1%. So even the lowest video that we had as far as engagement was still so far above. So we're 3 to 5 times higher than any that are out there. So I want to give thanks. This is to all of you who are participating today. This is to our beautiful speakers who are giving us the most important information that everybody wants to share. So thank you for the comments. Thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for asking the questions, for being just such an engaged audience with us. And as usual, we know that there are so many challenges that are happening in the world, and with each of us that might be difficult. So there's war, there's famine. And so we wanted to take just one moment, one breath of silence to give peace, love, and kindness out there in the world. And we will extend that today to our speakers and give them strength going into this session. And a few friendly reminders. Again, we encourage participation for all of you who are joining us on LinkedIn. We welcome your thoughts, reactions, insights. Please share right now. Feel free to share your location. It's always fun to get your city and country, and ask questions consistently for each and every presenter. There are no dumb questions, so don't worry about that. We will ask them after all of the speakers have presented. And just keep in mind that this is a space for open, inclusive, and uplifting and positive dialogue. So, with that, I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Wissam because without him, we would not be here today. And I just want to give gratitude for being able to be part of this program with him, our speakers, and our audience today. So, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Michelle, for these remarks. And we move to our first speaker, Dr. Safa Al Hamaida. Dr. Safa is a senior consultant of international affairs and social entrepreneurship from France. So the floor is yours, Dr. Safa.
Hello, everyone. Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, and dear friends. It's really a great joy and an honor to join you today. And all my deep gratitude to Dr. Wissam Al Madhoun and to Dr. Michelle Thatcher for not only their invitation, this kind invitation, but also for their leadership in placing entrepreneurship, policy, and sustainability at the center and the heart of a global conversation. Allow me today to take you with me in a trip for 10 minutes to explore together a simple idea. Let's see together how can we move from an ecosystem to a real ecosystem. For decades, our economic story has been driven by the ecosystem, my company, my market share, my profit, and my success. This ecosystem certainly has produced innovation and growth, but it has also produced exhaustion, exclusion, and ecological collapse. Today, the planet is asking us for very clearly to upgrade our story. An ecosystem economy is totally different. We function out of a total different space. The space where my success is linked to your success. Business is linked to public policy. Human well being is linked to the health of rivers, forests, soil, and air. In an ecosystem, the question is no longer how much can I take? The question becomes how much can we together regenerate? This is where entrepreneurship, policy, and sustainability must meet. So let me start with entrepreneurship as it is my masterpiece. I work with students, leaders, and founders who are full of ideas and passion. They want to create, to build, to contribute, but many of them also feel a deep tension. They keep asking, how can I build a successful company without betraying my values, my mental health, or the future of my children and grandchildren? This is why I speak about conscious entrepreneurship. Conscious entrepreneurship means, for me, three things. First, awareness of the impact. Every business model is a climate model. It's a social model. It's a psychological model that shapes how we live, how we relate, and how we feel. Second, alignment with values. Entrepreneurs must ask not only is there a market for this product? They need to ask also, is the world truly going to be a better place if this grows? And third, responsibility for the invisible, for the emotions inside teams, for the hidden costs in communities, for the long-term consequences that do not appear in the quarterly reports. Consciousness is not a luxury. Consciousness is infrastructure. Without it, even the best technology will just reproduce the same old problems, and even worse. But individual consciousness is not enough. If we ask entrepreneurs to be sustainable inside an unsustainable system, we are asking them to swim against a very strong current. This is where policy becomes essential. Policy is the invisible architecture of our ecosystem. It defines what it is normal, what is rewarded, and what is simply too expensive to ignore. If pollution is cheap and regeneration is expensive, we should not be surprised by the results then. If speculation is rewarded more than long term investments, we should not be surprised by instability. So we need a wise policy, a policy that sends a clear message to the market. This kind of message that we need to send to the market. Regeneration is profitable. Transparency is expected. Exploitation has a cost and a very heavy cost. That means on the ground, tax systems that favor circular and low carbon models, incentives for clean technology and social innovation, requirements for social and environmental reporting, public-private partnership that accelerate that translates the transition instead of slowing it down. Policy can be a wall that blocks the future or a bridge that carries us in the future faster and safer. Today, we cannot afford walls, but we need bridges. Now, let us connect all of that to the sustainability. Sustainability is often understood as doing less harm, using less water, less energy, producing less waste. But in the era we are entering, less harm is not enough. We need recognition, restoring soils, protecting biodiversity, healing communities, and rebuilding trust. The question here for entrepreneurship and policy today must be, how do we design systems where the most profitable thing to do is also the most sustainable thing to do? And to answer this, we must expand our definition of value. For many years, success was measured mainly by financial and profit. Today, this is like trying to understand a whole human being by looking only at his bank account. We need at least 4 dimensions of value, what I call in my theory the 4 Ps. We need value: people, planet, purpose, and profit. For people, we need to ask, are we enhancing human dignity, equity, and mental health? For the planet, just let's ask ourselves, are we really staying within planetary boundaries and restoring what was damaged? And for purpose, what drives us? Does this activity truly serve the society? And for profit, that is not to neglige, is the model financially healthy and resilient? When we measure all 4 values, we see reality more clearly, and we can design better decisions. Education and leadership for the ecosystem age is very important. What does that mean in practic way? It means entrepreneurs become architects of solutions, not just builders of products. Investors become stewards of the future, not only hunters of returns. Universities and schools teach not only how to create a business, but also how to create value for life. As a professor, I see that young people do not want to choose between doing well and doing good. They want them both. Our responsibility as professors and education system is to make that possible. So we must teach emotional intelligence alongside financial literacy. We must teach systems thinking alongside marketing And we must teach ethics and consciousness alongside innovation, because the companies that will truly thrive in the coming decades are those that integrate head, heart, and planet. Allow me to end my speech with these three invitations. I invite entrepreneurs and business leaders to dare to build companies that your grandchildren will be proud of. Ask in every strategic meeting, how does this decision move us from an ecosystem to an ecosystem? I also invite policymakers and public leaders to dare to write laws that protect what cannot be replaced: clean water, healthy soil, public trust, the mental health of your citizens. Make it easy, make it even profitable for entrepreneurs to do the right thing. And I do invite educators, experts, and ambassadors of sustainability today to dare to place consciousness at the center of your work, your speech, your research, because without change in awareness, no policy will be enough, and no technology will be safe for misuse. The future, my dear followers and listeners to me today, the future is not a place to discover. It is a place that we can design and recreate together. Entrepreneurship provides the creativity, policy provides the structure, sustainability provides the compass, and here comes my theory of the golden triangle. When these three work together, we move from an ecosystem that divides, exhausts, to a true ecosystem that includes, regenerates, and inspires. This is not only possible, it is a necessity. And it starts with choices we make today. Each choice that we make today and we make each day, it starts in spaces exactly like our space today. Thank you so much. And I will be happy to answer and to discuss further what I presented today later in the question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Safa, for these enlightening remarks. And we move now to our next speakers. So we'll have Ms. Minal Durazio, the Managing Director of World Kindness Trust, and Ms. Azlina Maria Abubakar, the co-founder and CEO of World Kindness Trust, for delivering their remarks. So the floor is yours.
Hi. Um, Thank you. Hi, I'm Meenal D. Rosario, Managing Director of World Kindness Trust. Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Vassam and Michelle, for inviting me to this forum with such esteemed individuals, along with my colleague Azlina. Today, I'm going to be speaking about the UAE as a living laboratory for behavioral sustainability. I'm going to start with a something that feels uncomfortable but true. We are building faster than we are learning, and we are scaling systems faster than we are strengthening people. I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last time you saw trust being measured with the same level of seriousness as GDP? When was the last time belonging received the same investment, attention as productivity? Because globally, human behavior is under pressure. The UN World Social Report 2025 establishes that the social fragmentation is emerging as a risk category in its own right, alongside economic, environmental, and security threats. Across OECD countries, only 41% of people report high or moderate trust in public institutions. The WHO has linked chronic loneliness to reduce life expectancy comparable to smoking and physical inactivity. So, today, this is not a topic about geography. It's about the fundamental question: what happens when human behavior is treated as strategic infrastructure and not as a soft issue? I have returned to the UAE. This is my second stint here, and I've returned after several years. And the beauty of it is that there are 200 nationalities, constant population churn, fast development, high performance expectation, and very small margins for social failure. If social cohesion weakens here, you notice it very quickly. That makes this environment useful as a case study. When you combine migrant majority demographics, cultural plurality, rapid urbanization, economic stratification, and high psychological demand, behavior cannot be left to chance. It must be designed, observed, and strengthened. This isn't unique to UAE. It's the future condition of cities everywhere. You can take it as London, Singapore, Nairobi, Jakarta. Social behavior is no longer cultural, it is structural. No longer moral, it is material. No longer optional, it is resilience factor. And this is where innovation with social purpose becomes essential. Across the UAE, we are seeing exciting developments that show how behavioral design and entrepreneurship intersect. Building on the UAE's unique social landscape, there are a few innovation emerging where it matters most. At the intersection, which even Dr. Safa mentioned, about people, purpose, and technology. Rising of well-being tech. Community tech and sustainability ventures are growing, addressing the everyday needs of diverse population. Youth as drivers. Programs like the Sustainable City Youth Program in Dubai empower young people to lead initiatives in climate action, inclusion, and mental well being, turning awareness into measurable impact. Solution innovation. Something which I found extremely interesting, and actually I dig deeper into it, was the Masdar City, which has been designed in Abu Dhabi. And the premise of it was energy use through clean infrastructure, mobility through walkability and low carbon transport, waste through built in sustainability systems, and community through shared human centered spaces. The key message here is sustainability succeeds when behavior is designed into the system, not added on as later. These examples show how behavioral design, social purpose, and innovation intersect, but having initiatives is only the first step. The real challenge comes in translating these into measurable, scalable impact, which leads us to the next slide: the gap between policy and adoption. So, I'm going to narrate certain practical aspects. In Japan, the scale of social isolation among the elderly has led to the creation of National Ministry for Loneliness. In Singapore, social enterprises receive funding only if they can demonstrate measured social impact, not branding. In Scandinavia, which is very close to our heart, kindness is embedded structurally. Long parental leave, shared community responsibility, low hierarchy governance, high institutional trust. These are not emotional reforms, they are economic strategies. Because behavior drives productivity, public health expenditure, crime levels, workforce sustainability, and education outcomes. Surprisingly, World Economic Forum has estimated the poor mental health alone has cost the global economy over $1 trillion annually. Social breakdowns cost more than policy failure. It just doesn't appear on balance sheets. World Kindness Trust exists because this gap exists. We are not advocating emotion. We're building an architecture for behavioral measurement. Our kindness index tracks trust, empathy, belonging, community health across organizations, schools, communities, and urban systems. These four pillars predict resilience, productivity, institutional trust, workforce well being. Kindness is not being nice, it is policy compliance, workplace function, youth resilience, and the most important, civic confidence. Our intention with this index is not to rank societies. We detect patterns. We do not judge cultures. We interpret conditions. And we track movement over time because behavior changes before statistics do. How the UAE can lead. So we start here. Not because the UAE is flawless, because it is intense. There's high ambition here, there's high mobility here, high expectation and high diversity, which means symptoms appear early: burnout, isolation, disconnection, fragmentation. This makes it as a pressured environment, which is extremely valuable, not aspirational. If social systems can hold here, they will hold anywhere else. The UAE is not the lesson, it is the laboratory. Every system we design eventually rests on behavior, not regulation, technology, or money, but people. The nations that will endure this century will not be the largest, the richest, and the fastest. They will be the most cohesive, trusted, and emotionally literate and socially intelligent. So here's my invitation. Let's measure behavior like infrastructure, design systems that anticipate fragility, fund dignity like innovation, and treat kindness as a strategic intelligence. Because sustainability is not only environmental, it is behavioral. And when behavior strengthens, everything else stabilizes. The UAE is increasingly taking a bridge role, connecting GCC with Africa and Asia through shared development goals, innovation pathways, value led collaboration. We invite policy partners, innovators, foundations, and networks such as HA Global Impact Ventures, under whose vision World Kindness Trust operates in Singapore, and currently we're co-creating solutions like the Kindness Challenge, an initiative run in collaboration with Do Good People, first one in Singapore, where we embed behavioral metrics into sustainability and business, making kindness a shared, actionable narrative while combining measured innovation and cross-regional impact to advance behavioral sustainability. Together, we can embed behavioral metrics into sustainability and social entrepreneurship, ensuring that impact is not only designed but measured, scaled, and sustained. As I end my note, there's one particular quote actually was very important for me, having a 17-year-old son, was that we are racing against time to build a future worthy of our children. Very articulatedly quoted by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. So I would like to end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manal. I will continue. Let me just share my screen. All right. Okay, a big thank you to Dr. Wissam and Michelle for convening this very important webinar. I'm very thrilled to be here, as how Minal has mentioned, amongst the other accomplished panels of speakers. Hang on, my slide is gone now. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we talked about a lot about sustainable systems. But what is the most critical ingredient for any system to last? I would argue that it's not technology, it's not money, but something we cannot see. There's a lot of mention about this particular element: trust. Now, here's a paradox. Singapore has no natural resources, yet it is one of the most resilient nations on earth. It is a nation that has mastered something more powerful, which is the art of governance built on trust and the science of designing systems that allow society to move together, not apart. What Singapore teaches us is that trust is not an accident. It is engineered, it is consciously cultivated, and it becomes the foundation on which sustainable policies, social entrepreneurship, and cohesive communities are built. And this is exactly what I will be sharing tonight. Now, let's start with a number. This is a number that you cannot ignore, 76%. According to the 2023 Edelman Trust Barometer, 76% of Singaporeans trust their government to do what is right. Now, to give you context, the global average often languishes below 50%. So what does it say? It says that around the world, trust is collapsing. Now we see declining confidence in institution, we see growing polarization, misinformation undermining stability, and when trust erodes, everything else begins to unravel. Policy becomes difficult to implement. Social enterprises struggle to create meaningful impact. Sustainability efforts lose momentum. Cohesion weakens. Economy becomes fragile and communities fracture. But yet, in the midst of this global uncertainty, somehow Singapore stands out. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because worldwide there's so much to learn from here. What sets Singapore apart is not merely efficiency, it's not merely discipline, but it is behavioral coherence. What is it? It's a shared rhythm in how people respond, how people align, how they participate, how they show up for one another. And this builds resilience and it ensures sustainability. Singapore is a rare example of a high trust society in a very low trust world. This is where the government, businesses, communities, they operate with aligned behaviors and mutual accountability. Now, what does this behavioral coherence enables? It enables policies, it enables social entrepreneurship and sustainability to reinforce each other and create a virtuous cycle of impact. So how do you build trust? You don't just hope for it, you architect it, right? Singapore's approach is that sustainable societies don't just emerge out of nice slogans. They are consciously designed through systems that make trust as a default outcome. So this happens through what I call the social architecture in this nation. So the first example is the urban planning. It starts from urban planning. Our HDB towns, they are not just blocks of flats. If you come to Singapore, you will see high rises, blocks of flats. They have been engineered for interaction. The void decks, for example, the common spaces, the community gardens, they are the modern equivalent of the village well. During the old times, people go and take water, they go to the well, people among the villagers will talk about things, update people about it. This is also something that the government wants to inculcate, to encourage communication among different races within the country. So they become incubators for community-led social enterprises, from gardening collectives, which employ senior citizens, to repair cafes, to reduce waste, to build skills. These are among the initiatives that they do. Second, behavioral nudges. Now, this policy guides choices. For example, the National Step Challenge, it didn't force the Singaporeans to be healthy. It made it fun. It made it very rewarding. It gamified it. So, for example, the recycle or the food waste programs, they use similar incentives. So this is sustainability driven by design, but not by decree. Third is a very powerful one, our community networks and policies. There's something called the ethnic integration policy in the HDB estates that I mentioned just now. This is a masterclass in social design, okay? It ensures every block reflects multiracial society. In Singapore, there are Malays, there are Chinese, there are Indians, and there are other multiracial ethnicities, right? So what is the result from this? The Institute of Policy Studies found that HDB residents consistently have more friends from other races than those living in private unregulated estates. So this policy manufactures everyday empathy and makes social cohesion a lived reality. And finally, senior support systems like active aging centers. Now, they create both a safety net and a platform for social enterprises to thrive, especially in elder care, mobility, and mental wellness. Now, policy and trust, both of these elements create the stage, but who are the actors? This is where the engine kicks in. Singapore is home to 400 active social enterprises, according to a report in 2023, but I think by now it's probably close to 600. Now, these social enterprises, they are not charities. They are not charities waiting for handouts. They are businesses that convert the trust, cohesion built by policy into tangible and scalable impact. Now, let's look into two areas. Okay, number one is the inclusive employment. There is this restaurant chain called 18 Chefs. So what they have provided is that they have provided stable careers and reintegrated hundreds of youth at risk and ex-offenders. Now, what have they done? They are directly tackling social exclusions and turning it into economic participation. How amazing is that? Second one is elder care and community support. Organizations like the NTUC Health Silver Group, right? They provide active aging programs and daycare. What they're doing is basically they are scaling solutions that pure charity cannot sustain and that the government should not monopolize, of course. So these are among the few proofs that a trusted environment allows mission-driven businesses to flourish. Now, from all this, what Singapore did right? Now, Singapore's approach is very, very distinctive, I would say, because it treats social enterprises not as charity, as I mentioned, but as a very critical partner, as critical partners in achieving national, social, and environmental policy goals. So the support system is designed to make these enterprises effective, scalable, and financially sustainable within a larger ecosystem. So everything is very, very deliberate. Okay, so here are some of the examples of what Singapore did right. Number one is they created a central sector-specific intermediary called RACE. So instead of spreading support across multiple uncoordinated agencies, the government established RACE. It's the Center for Social Enterprise. This was created in 2015. So what it acts is that it's a one-stop hub for certification, for capacity building, for funding access, for market linkages. And why does it work? It's because it provides the front door for all the SEs, the social enterprises. Yeah, it ensures consistent standards. It allows for specialized sector-specific support. Which other agencies cannot offer. So this prevents fragmentation and it creates a unified identity for a sector. Number two is they prioritize ecosystem building over isolated funding. So the government understood because they understood that just by giving grants, it creates dependency. Instead, they invested in building a robust support infrastructure. So what they come up with is something called the phase funding model. They offer grants which are structured to mirror the venture building model, just as how any businesses should be. There is no spoon feeding, there's no hand holding, but of course there is mentorship and whatnot. Number three is they have aligned all this social entrepreneurship growth with national policy goals. This is very, very important. This is the master stroke, right? Singapore didn't create SEs in a vacuum, but it actively channeled them to address key national challenges, some of which is like social cohesion and inclusion, environmental sustainability based on the Singapore Green Plan 2030. They just make sure that all these national key challenges is addressed through the social and enterprises. Number four is they fostered a market-based mindset from the start. Now, from the very beginning, the message was very clear. Social enterprises are business. They are not charity. So there is no special legal structure. When it comes to social enterprises, you must register as a private limited company. They have instilled the discipline for commercial viability, and they will teach the SEs to become investment ready from day one. So the focus is revenue, How? They give the support system that pushes the SE to generate revenue through trading, to trade goods, services, create more sustainable and scalable model, rather than relying on donations. The next one is they use policy to create demand and de-risk ventures. So the government doesn't just support SEs on the supply side, they also create a market for them. Okay, there is something called public procurement, where the government agencies and the government-linked companies are encouraged to procure services from the SEs where possible, providing stable and reliable revenue stream. But here's the challenge. Here's the challenge for leaders everywhere. What you cannot see, you cannot strengthen. So our current indices measure economy, measure health, even measure happiness. But what they don't measure is the quality of our social fabric. We track GDP to the decimal, but we have no dashboard for trust, for empathy, for the daily acts of cooperation that truly makes a society resilient. So this is a global blind spot. Now, Minal has mentioned a lot about what we do in World Kindness Trust. We are very proud to have our kindness index. So in our, in the gap in understanding our social health is precisely why World Kindness Trust was founded. We are trying to use kindness index to provide solutions to many facets within and layers within our society. Now think of it as a diagnostic dashboard for society. It gives policymakers, CEOs the power to see the invisible fractures, the invisible fragmentations, the cracks. Okay, it allocates resources with precision, and finally design policies which may be proactively build societies rather than react to its collapse. Now, imagine a world where nations are compared not just by economic strength. We talk about so much about numbers and profits, and we've become too capitalistic sometimes, right? But by trust maps, what I call the trust maps, that reveals social cohesion across regions. So what can happen? This is where policymakers can see with precision which communities feel safe, which workplaces struggle with psychological safety, which schools need belonging intervention, where loneliness, like Minal mentioned, the disconnection in rise, which is in the rise. So the S in ESG must now move beyond superficial reporting. It must reflect real behavioral insight. This is our take. The future of ESG depends on the society's ability to act. And this is why behavioral sustainability will become the new global standard. Now you've seen the what and the why. Now let me show you the how. Now what you see isn't just a list of projects, right? In my slide.
Lina, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm almost time, is it?
Can you please conclude in 2 minutes?
Okay, sure. So this is the ecosystem that we have built. So this is our inbuilt system to make sure that what we preach, we do, right? What we preach, we practice. So whoever has interest in how we actually build this ecosystem can always approach me and Minal. And it starts with research, and it's guided by a very good standard. And we include technology, and of course, the implementation is key. So finally, I would like to conclude and to bring this all together that policy is the steering wheel. It sets the direction. Sustainability is the destination. It's where we all want to go. Behavior is the vehicle. It's how we get there. Trust is the fuel. It makes the journey possible. And finally, social entrepreneurship is the engine that drives relentless innovation on the road ahead. Thank you so much for your attention. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lina, for the interesting sharings. And we move now to the next speaker, Prof. Muhammad Sayed. Prof. Muhammad is a professor at the State Islamic University, Sharif Hidayatullah in Jakarta. So the floor is yours, Prof. Sayed.
I try to present my PowerPoint, okay?
Your PowerPoint is up on the screen. And
yes,
so
my PowerPoint. Can you see all?
Yes, we can see your
Okay.
PowerPoint.
Thank you
And
very much.
just want to let us know when you need to change screens, and we can change your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speaker tonight, it is a blessing to me to be among of you tonight. So as a member of this forum, I appreciate firstly is our moderator, Ms. Mitchell, for her dedication to coordinating this forum. Thank you very much. And also I appreciate our brother, Dr. Wesam Al-Madhon, for inviting me to be one of the tonight's speaker. I thanks to all speaker, Miss Minal de Rosario, Miss Azelina Maria Abu Bakar, and then Dr. Safa Al-Hamdiah, Miss Rehan Al-Majali, and Pak Nanang Subana Dirja. Today, I want to share what I have seen, I heard, and felt throughout my academic journey as a researcher or ethnographer, and as the chair of Sharia Supervisory Board at Islamic Relief Indonesia. Our team has worked directly with and learned deeply from the community living in the extreme poverty in several provinces in Indonesia, particularly on the island of Lombok. Okay, the title of my presentation today is, as you see in my slide, a social entrepreneurship and Islamic economic ecosystem approach for the sustainable empowerment for extremely poor community in West Nusa Tenggara. We deliberately focus on East Lombok because extreme poverty in these regions remains among the highest in Indonesia, 11.78%. This affecting approximately 654,570 people. These neglected figures have drawn serious attention from the central and regional government, as well as local and international NGOs who are demanding innovative and effective solutions. So, in response, we have developed an adaptation of break international ultra poor graduation model. We transforming it into the Islamic ultra poor graduation model based on Islamic economic ecosystem. So the question is, what is an Islamic ultra poor graduation? Let's have the next slide. We define that the Islamic ultra poor graduation model offers an integrated and holistic ecosystem approach. The program provides not only capital support, but also behavioral transformation, institutional strengthening, and Sharia compliant intervention that protects communities from exploitation while ensuring ethical and sustainable empowerment. The next slide, okay. This model follows a six-step strategies toward poverty alleviation. The first is social mapping, is to identifying target household and then understanding their socio-economic condition. The second is literacy and mindset training. It's building financial literacy and entrepreneurs and mindset, and also the readiness for behavioral transformation of change. The second one is asset transfer, which means that we provide a productive asset to support income generated activities. And the fourth is facilitation through self-help group. This one. It means to try strengthening for sport discipline and also community-based empowerment. Fifth is progress monitoring and mentoring and intensive coaching. And the last one is graduation. We hope that extremely poverty people transform from the mustahik to be the muzaki. Okay, the next is this one, our experience. That's our program coverage 5 village in East Lombok with the diversification of business, which consists of first, you can see here, it's so small. Okay? The first is cattle farming. The second is goat farming. And the third one, trading business. And four, poultry farming. The next is mechanical workshop and corn farming. And the last one is rice farming. This is the diversification of businesses we provide to the community who are living under the extreme poverty in West East Lombok. So a total of, this is still in the slide, a total of 960 beneficiaries participate in these programs. It is nearly 1,000 people. The result demonstrates a strong multiplier effect, not only economically, but also socially and ecologically. Most impressively, we observe a significant increase in spiritual awareness, which reflected in the increase of charitable and practices and donation. It demonstrating that the empowerment is not just about income, it is about dignity, hope, and moral strength. So the next, yeah, this is, I have explained that. So why does the Islamic ultra poor graduation model succeed? Yeah, the last one, the last slide. One small, one small. Okay. This is, I explained this one. Yeah, I explained that why does the Islamic ultra poor graduation model succeed in East Lombok? It is because it integrates 4 power pillars. The first is Islamic microfinance integrated with zakat and intensive training. The second one is capital combined with a long-term or ongoing training. The third one is supportive ecosystem involving NGOs, government, community leaders, and also religious leaders. The next is Sharia compliance intervention. We build the consideration of the community to be brave to reject no interest, no usury, no gambling, and no presumptive lending, and no exploitative practices. So together, I think this element promote economic resilience and also social empowerment and ecological attractiveness, while respecting local tradition and also cultural identities and community wisdom. Okay, that's all what I present tonight. It is an honor to share this insight with all of you. I look forward to learning together, exploring new collaborations, and strengthening our collective efforts to advance social entrepreneurship and sustainable empowerment. especially for the world's most vulnerable communities. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Sayed, for sharing this interesting model. And now we move to the next speaker, and we'll have Mr. Nanang Subana Dirja. And Mr. Nanang, he's the CEO of Islamic Relief in Indonesia. So the floor is yours, Mr. Nanang.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me, brother and sister?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Salam.
Yeah. Please pray for us because Indonesia is currently under the siege of multiple disasters. Even we have to stop our project, and quite a lot of number of victims and also fatalities there. So tonight I would like to present sustainability through social enterprise. This is a case study of water project in Banten province, one of the province in Indonesia, and yeah. So the problem around water and sanitation is that under the SDGs number 6, clean water and sanitation, we do see that despite some improvements, progress in water and sanitation remains insufficient. At the current speed, in 2030, still 2 billion people will still live without safely managed drinking water. And other billion people without safety managed sanitation, and another 1 billion more than that without basic hygiene sanitation, hygiene services. Basically, $1 billion interventions have been already done, but unfortunately, it's like museums. So why it's a failure basically around water intervention? We identify that design and planning is not that a suitable. Construction process is not really doable, and also operation and maintenance problem. And on the other hand, project management also is not that put in place in proper way. So if we are talking about the failure, basically the driver of sustainability and also is there. But if we see the example, can you continue please to the next slide, please? Okay, so if we learn from Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate, the Nobel winners through Grameen Bank mechanism. So social enterprise basically one of the key to manage sustainability in our intervention. Why? Because we learned that in social enterprise implemented or introduced by Muhammad Yunus is very innovative. Why innovative? Because this is something that beyond the current the current or the practical situations there, and this is also grounded in wisdom challenge. It means that normally, if we are talking of access to money, then the poor, especially the women, cannot go to the bank, so this is not bankable. But through Grameen Bank, the Muhammad News made some a breakthrough, and by having like peer pressures, then financial sustainability can be maintained and can be managed, and then the group within the Grameen Bank participants, they have a social objectives. They set up the same vision, the same understanding, and also the same responsibility. So they are sharing responsibility, and also they are sharing the purpose. And also there is a dedicated leadership over there. So leadership is very important in the Grameen Bank mechanisms. That's why they will be very disciplined in sitting, in managing the fund, and also in terms of installment. So this is basically we are learning from Muhammad Yunus on social enterprise. Please continue, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so what about in water and sanitation? Can we do sustainability in water and sanitation through social enterprise? Yes, of course. First of all, we have to manage the proper community mobilizations in which that proper need assessment that can contain general assessment, technical assessment, and even further assessment should be done. And then also we need to do a participatory rural appraisal in a proper manner in which that we analyze the problem altogether, including also the resource, and with the communities we try to determine also a solution, what solution is applicable for the communities they are taking part in it. And then even the communities can do altogether the detail engineering design. To my experience, the detail engineering design is not only technical things. It is not only belongs to engineer, but community also can talk about this one, especially when we go to the mountain to find out the water resources, and then we measure the a certain technical measurement, then we can find out that the input from the community is very valuable. And also during the proper community mobilizations, so we can solicit community contributions. Yeah, and community contribution basically is part of symbol for sense of belonging. Once we find out community contribution is small, is not really significant, it means that sustainability is on the stake. And once the community mobilization process has been conducted proper well, then we need to go with the policy setup. This policy setup can be done through the leadership and management with the village ahead. So we are talking here about the village regulation, about do's and don'ts. So for example, if we are implementing, if you're providing the piping scheme, for example, how the communities can avoid to just take advantage for themselves. Very often that the communities will take advantage when the piping is coming through their houses, and then they will take like to make it leakage, this type of thing. So do's and don'ts is very important. And then the cost recovery mechanism has to be also set up. It means that everybody who is getting involved in the project and getting benefit from the project, they have to think about how the recovery mechanism can be set up or can be enacted together. In the meantime, in technical aspect, when we are doing implementations on the water piping, for example, then we have to we have to be able to open. The we have to be able to open the adjustment opportunity, because sometimes on the ground it cannot be always as a plan. So it means that we have to be able to do some adjustment in terms of technical aspect. For example, in terms of the equipment, in terms of tools, in terms of many other things. And when we talk about sustainability, we have to think about large scale coverage. For example, we are intervening the water, it should be covering the whole villages. By having intervention the whole villages, it means that we are intervening for the whole people. It means that the social enterprise opportunity can be done by the large scale intervention. Here, the cost recovery mechanisms can be possible. Just one example in the village that we have already just implemented, the cost recovery mechanisms applied through subsidy mechanism. For example, for the poor, while for the rich, they have to pay a certain amount of money. And here, the financial sustainability can be also enacted while the community can contribute with fixed monthly payment for all. So everybody have to pay fixed monthly payment, while the system of pay as you go when you are using water with the measurable meter, then you have to pay as you are using the water. And the most important one is that if we manage a cost recovery, then we have to allocate the funding. We have to allocate the money through for the water management committee 30%, for example, because they are the one who is managing the water facilities and also the operations. Yeah, and the other one is also for social purposes, and the other one is for the maintenance and also business development. So for business development, this is very interesting case, and this is part of the social enterprise component in which that the water, because this is a large scale, and there will be an outburst of water, and then the water can be used we set up a swimming pool. The swimming pool is using the exit water, and the exit water can only be happening with the adjusted detail engineering design, and this detail engineering design is can be successful because we are implementing the meters. So many failure happening because of technical problem. For example, the water is coming to the house. Everyone got the water meter. Everyone got the water, but they don't want to apply the water meter. This is not this is cannot be applied. The water meter is key for the successful social enterprise. So this is the learning from the project of the water that we have implemented in our village. I hope that I can hear from the rest of
Thank
you
you.
for the learning. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum
Yeah, thank you so
warahmatullahi.
much, Mr. Nanang Shabana, for this interesting model and experience from Indonesia. So now we move to the last speaker for today, Ms. Rehan Al-Majali. And Ms. Rehan, she is a PhD candidate on entrepreneurship and innovation at University Science Malaysia. So the floor is yours, Ms. Rehan.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wissam. Thank you for organizing this excellent webinar about the Global Forum on Social Entrepreneurship Policy and Sustainability. The first, I want to know exactly about what the difference between the social enterprise different and the traditional non-profit. What the difference between us? The difference between us is non-profit mostly live on donation and grant, and they don't share any profit with owners. But the social enterprise earns money by selling product and services. It can make a profit, but its main purpose is to create social impact, not to make as much money as possible or profit maximization. So what's the social entrepreneurship? But let me unpack what make it different and what the difference of social entrepreneurship. The next slide, please. It's using entrepreneurship principle to create a venture that solves social problem sustainability. So the characteristic of social entrepreneurship, the first is the mission, dual mission. It's, I told before, it's social impact and balance with financial sustainability. That's the important. And another one, it's innovation driven. It's a creative solution to business problems, and the market-based, it's revenue models, not charity dependency, not charity. And the scalable, it's designed for system change, and accountability, it's measurable. The line, it's very small. I cannot see it very well. Wait a minute. No. Okay. Okay, look at this chart. We are seeing extraordinary growth in social entrepreneurship globally over the last decade. Let me highlight three critical trends. The first, adventure formation has exploded from about 10,000 social enterprises founded in 2015 to over 16,000 in 2024. That's 6 times growth. And the second, notes women-led venture. We're approaching 15% of social enterprise globally being women-led, compared to only 25 in traditional business. This significant social enterprise is becoming more inclusive. And the third, most dramatic, because its impact investing were gone from $25 billion deployed in 2015 to over $320 billion in 2024. That's a 12-fold increase. What does this tell us? The market is validating social entrepreneurship. And next slide, please. Yeah, global trend in social entrepreneurship. It's already show the youth-led venture. It's 76 access to finance as biggest barrier, and the 15% global social enterprise led by women, and the 15 rise in sustainable started globally. This chart, it's Jordan global position in SDGs. The SDGs index rank is 71 from the 167 countries. And SDG index score, it's 70.99. And the spillover score, it's about how is it the Jordan with the region. It's 99 of 83. So this chart, it's already, wait.
Ms. Rehan, can we break for a while? Maybe we can get some like
I don't hear it because
questions.
the mosque is near, very near.
Okay.
Can you break just 5 minutes?
Yep. So, Miss Michelle, maybe we can get some like of the comments, and then we go back to Miss Rehan later on.
Yes, thank you so much. I want to just give another shout out to our audience. I'll just say right now, and these, I haven't caught up with all of these, but we have participants joining us today from Switzerland, Lebanon, Mexico City, London, Tanzania, Romania, Conakry, Ghana, Arusha, Tanzania, Morocco, Sudan, Tome, Chile, Subete, Tanzania, UAE, Singapore, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Karachi, Egypt, USA, and many, many more. So again, we are so honored to have such a global audience. Thank you so very much for joining us. And I also want to give a shout out to our team. Tay is out there asking for questions and taking in all the questions into our own document. So thank you very much for that, and just helping to promote overall. So many thanks to our team as well. And I don't know if we're ready to go back to the presentation. Do we know if it's time, or should we continue with questions? Rena? Miss Rianne? Oh, maybe we go straight to the questions. Yeah, and feel free to interrupt me if we want to go straight back to the presentation. I think we'll go ahead and start. We have presentation, or we have a question from Indira Bunik. The question is for Ms. Minal, and she asks, many social entrepreneurs emerge from the communities they serve. How can we build ecosystems that better support grassroots innovators who may lack access to formal business education or networks?
I think that's a very good question, because that's something which we as well, it doesn't come from a learned behavior, but I think it comes from a lived experience. So from that point of view, I think the more lived insights we have, they can actually lead to more concrete understanding of outcomes. So I would actually support and feel that the more communities and the people who can actually come together and support more grassroots level insights and behavioral aspects, that will only make it better in terms of creating solutions and innovating for social and enterprises. So that would be one particular ask. I hope I have answered. If you can just give me the second part of the question, that would be helpful.
Yes, the second part is how can we build ecosystems that better support grassroots innovators who may lack access to formal business education or networks?
I think
Okay.
the
Michelle, we can to continue the presentation.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, we'll come back.
no
Yeah.
problem. That's fine. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, I am now on the Jordan global position in SDGs. Let's zoom in Jordan because is where seeing the real action. Jordan is a lower middle income country with 1136 million people and GDP around 126 billion per capita. And on the SDG, Jordan is making real progress. This chart show Jordan is 71 globally in sustainability and development with a strong score of 1799 and the positive spillover score 98, 88, um, uh, um, 83 means Jordan is a regional leader. This position Jordan perfectly for social enterprise to scale impact on these 70 goals, especially poverty and education, energy and employment. There are still significant challenge in other development factor. Jordan force high youth and women unemployment, pressure unlimited nature resources like water and energy and the institutional reform that move slower than society needs. That is why innovative models such as social entrepreneurship are essential to progress on this develop gap. Social entrepreneurship in Jordan isn't academic, it's urgent and isn't optional, it's essential for that. And next slide, okay. This already I see it. Okay, why policy it's matter and why? So the country use the legal recognition. It's increase 30% higher in social entrepreneurship density and clear if apply the clear framework it's improve 14% better finance access and if supportive policy it's faster scaling greater impact so this it's the country global variation narrow narrow and I didn't see the slide, sorry. Very well. So, next slide. This is the policy challenge and solution, and why exactly key policy challenge, how to address them. The first policy or the challenge is the definitional ambiguity, because it's no clear legal definition of what constitutes a social enterprise. And the finance access, it's a problem because it's unclear tax treatment or difficulty and regulatory burden and limited governance capacity. All this is the challenge for the policy. And next slide is the MENA innovation leadership. It's about in Jordan, what is the social entrepreneurship, it's ventures or enterprises. The first is Rawak Al Urdun, Jordan. Rawak Al Urdun, Jordan. Wait a minute. Is the example, actual venture doing remarkable things, the Rawak al-Urdun. They taking culture asset, ancient site and traditional craft and turning them into economic opportunities. They not choosing between tradition and development. They are integrating them. There is what equitable development look like and Zatari refugee entrepreneurship. Here is our over 3,000 registered business. Every month, these business generate more than 13 million in economic activity. So why they generate more than 13 million? Because they policy change and the right to work. When refugees go to the right to legal work, they didn't wait for handout. They become entrepreneur. They created business and job and dignity. There's power of policy enablement. A single policy decision creating 13 million monthly in economic activity. Jordan pioneered this. It's a model the Jordan should replace. And the circular economy, it's social enterprise taking textile waste, old clothes and factory scrap and turning them into marketable product. Jordan global rank in 49 out of 137 on a global entrepreneurship index. That's strong, but here's the real story. It's the ecosystem support from organization, okay, like in hand and business incubators. We're seeing momentum and the foundation are being laid and the opportunity are numerous. Next slide. Okay, this already the barriers in social entrepreneurship. It's about the access to finance and the entrepreneurship training. And this slide, it's ecosystem challenge, solution and opportunity. The challenge already I told before, it's access to finance and entrepreneurial skills gap and the survivor rates and policy awarenesses. And the solution, it's a blended finance and impact investment and capacity building and the skills training hub. What the opportunity? The opportunity is to technology enable scaling. That's the opportunity. And another one is the impact highlight innovation case study. How what the Jordan is already do it or innovation. The first is renewable energy. 11 of energy from renewable growing toward independence and green job created. Another one, it's water and tourism. It's innovative management system and green tourism initiative and social impact. It's 1 million beneficial. And the next slide, this research insight, entrepreneurship and strategic agility. What is the strategic agility? It's a drive growth and impact, and its already ability to rapidly sense market change and respond through strategic adaptation. Why it's critical for social entrepreneurship? Because it's critical for social operating in evolving environment with changing social need, funding landscape, and regulatory context. Here, it's 23% faster growth if enterprise sensing market signals and competitive pursuit grow 23% faster than those without sensing capability. And 18, adoption advantage. Strong adoption practice, its growth by 18 enables scaling while maintaining mission. And trouble increase, reach, increase. Example, it's about Jordan Health Enterprise, shift to distribute model and achieving triple increase, reach, increase at the same cost. So the balance is critical, maintain core mission while adapting tactique. Mission drift is a real risk when agility become crisis-driven reactivity rather than and the last slide, it's a building vital sustainable future. Social entrepreneurship isn't optional. It's essential. Our job is to create conditions for it to thrive at scale, and the opportunity is real. 30% more venture with supportive policy and 40%, 40% better finance access and the global partnership emerging. And the time is now because we can collaborate with each other, with policy maker and investor and entrepreneur and the researcher to create a sustainable solution. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Rehan, for the presentation, for the interesting findings. Yeah, thank you. So I'm inviting Michelle now to handle the Q&A session.
Yes, thank you so much to all of our speakers. And thank you, everyone. This has been such an amazing dialogue on LinkedIn today. I know we didn't quite finish Ms. Minal's question, but we do have a lot of questions, and I want to get to just a couple of others if it's okay. And so we have one for Ms. Alzina. What are the most significant systemic barriers preventing social entrepreneurship from reaching its full potential? And what would it take to dismantle them? And that is from Strong Truth from Morocco.
Wow. Thank you so much for the question. So first is what are the most significant systemic barriers preventing social entrepreneurship? I think in some countries, not particularly in Singapore, I am also, I have I have other businesses in Malaysia as well. I realized that one of the systemic barrier could be fragmented ecosystem, right? It could also be a question of, because for example, in Singapore, as I mentioned, RAISE was set up in 2015 and it's a one-stop center for everything social enterprise, from funding to structure, through strategy, through everything, and how it's basically the front door. It's basically the front door that the government has created for the SEs to come in, and they somehow has this responsibility to make sure that all these SEs make money as how true blue businesses should be, right? But this is not the case for any other countries. Other countries, for probably bureaucratic reasons, there could be fragmented ecosystem. Besides that, there could also be maybe in terms of funding, short-term funding cycles, for example, because what I realize is, more often than not, these are the companies or setups who need money when they don't have money. So banks and other financing companies will just give you money when you have the money. So it's really, it's very counterproductive. And even if they give money, it's very in terms of it's in a short-term funding cycle, right? I think there's also, the barrier could also be from the lack of behavioral cohesion itself, because some people, or rather some companies, they don't see each other as collaborators, they see each other as competitors. But we believe, I mean, at least in our ecosystem, in Work and Trust and our other verticals, we believe in collaboration, building the ecosystem, because when you thrive, the other thrive too, right? And I think alignment in terms of infrastructure, right? It's very difficult for social enterprises to scale beyond the pilot stage. So because most of them operate in silos, so people don't know how to help you if you don't ask for help. So to me, in this world, you gotta, number one, claim your space, and if you don't know, you ask, because there are so many avenues that and organization that can actually help, and sometimes it's on the entrepreneurs themselves to actually break those barriers. Yeah, I think, have I answered the question?
Yes, thank you so very much. And Dr. Bassam, are we out of time today? I know we have a lot of questions, and I will say if we don't get to everyone's question, which we did not, but we will try to point the speakers in the direction of the questions and have them also answer possibly on LinkedIn. So we continue with the engagement. But Dr. Bassam, what is your preference? Well, we have, I know that, I don't know if Dr. Bassam is offline right this moment. Do you have a question just for Mohammed Saeed? We have a question from Eric Apia. And Eric asks, what research innovations in Indonesia are improving sustainability and community empowerment?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Michelle?
Yes. Can you hear?
Yeah, we can extend like for 10 minutes.
Okay, that would be wonderful. If any speaker has to leave, we totally understand, but we do have amazing
Michelle?
questions. Yes,
Can you hear me?
just a little bit. But I did ask the question with Mohammed Saeed. Did you hear the question?
Can you hear me?
Can you repeat once more,
Yes, of course.
Michelle?
Yes. The question is from Eric Apia. And Eric asked, what research innovations in Indonesia are empowering sustainability and community empowerment?
Yeah,
Research
thank you
innovation.
very much. It's a critical question, Michelle. I am with the Director of Islamic Relief Indonesia here, Mr. Nanang. He has a rich experience in handling about the policy to move on the community who live under the poverty line to transform to be the what is that to have a resilience in economic and social and also spiritual. We have experienced that several weeks ago. The model of Islamic ultra-poor graduation applied by Islamic Relief to transform the what is that those extremely poverty in Lombok and also in Aceh and Palu. Alhamdulillah, it shows a big impact that our policy, the next is to sustainable providing what is that to provide intensive mentoring and coaching to them in order they can transform their life. And so we think that it is not enough for us to provide them with the capital alone, but we also have to transform their mind, their attitude, and also injecting their knowledge. That's all what we do now to make the effort sustainability. Maybe Pak Nanang can help me to answer the question, please.
Mr. Nanang, can you hear us?
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes, thank you very much, Professor Science. So what I would like to emphasize here is that when we are talking about sustainability and also social enterprise within the community setting, it is not automatically achieved. Yeah, it has to be engineered. It has to be intervened from external factors. When we are talking about the extreme poverty, basically we are talking about external factor and also internal factors. External factors, it can be reversed to what they call that as a structural poverty, and internal factors maybe it can be what we call that as a uh, cultural poverty. So both of them are quite hard to be sorted out without comprehensive interventions. So, what we mean by comprehensive intervention is that what Professor Said has already mentioned, that there is a we have to be able to provide a continuous training, mentoring, and also coaching, and after that disseminating. So this is a package of capacity building, this is a package of awareness raising, this is a package of making people to realize what their potential, what are the threats outside, and then how to solve the problem within the situations. Yeah. And also we need to identify the needs of the poor people. By understanding the needs of the poor people, understanding also the circumstances, then we can determine the cash transfer. So when we are talking about sustainability, social enterprise, it cannot be conducted properly if it is the scale is not meeting with the need. Just for example, in our case is that we provide like $500 for the poor people to start the business at scale. So training, mentoring, and proper and adequate transfer, cash transfer is a key to success. And one thing, if I still have time, the basic need support. The basic need support for the poor people has to be provided also. This is not part of the project, but this is part of the government. So basically, we are talking about advocacy. So we need to advocate the government that the poor people has to be provided with the social protection, and after it, in combination with capacity building, mentoring, training, coaching, etc., and then with the cash transfer, it can come up with the proper social enterprise all together within the communities, and they come up with the sustainable solution to lift up them from poverty. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for that answer. And our next question and comment and question to Ms. Rian. And the first comment is from Ernesto Cordera, or Dr. Ernesto Cordera. And he says, ESG provides the criteria for evaluating an organization's environmental impact, social responsibility, and governance integrity. These metrics help investors, regulators, and communities assess whether an institution is contributing positively or negatively to sustainable development. Maybe ESG should also be incorporated in this discussion. And then the question that I have is from Joao Fernandez de Lima Nito. And they ask, what about bringing more climate-aligned financial systems based on biodiversity to new entrepreneurs? And Ms. Rian? And as she may be coming in, can you hear us? You might be on mute, Ms. Rayon. She might be frozen just this moment. As she's coming back in, I just want to make a note that the QR code that is on the screen is available for each of you to receive a certificate of attendance today for this particular program, as well as reaching out to let us know if you know of esteemed speakers like we have today might be a viable speaker in the future. So let us know. And also what actions you're taking because of this particular program. So again, feel free to use that QR code to get your certificate today. And I think we might have lost Ms. Rian, and I know that we're probably out of time for these questions. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. And I would like again to thank all the speakers for those interesting sharings. And I think today it was one more unique webinar, since we have a lot of real scenarios, which is a real example for people to show that sustainability, it's not only theoretical and talking theory, it's a lot of global examples being run and implemented, and this will give hope for people to adopt the sustainability practices and concepts in their projects. And I think the backgrounds of the speakers from the non-profit organizations, academia, that again bring the attention to the ongoing dialogue that is needed to create more fruitful discussions. So I'd like again to thank all the speakers and the audience for their engagement. So thank you so much. We'll see you again next week in the next webinar. So have a good time, everyone. And happy Thanksgiving for those who are celebrating. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
See
you.
you.